So welcome wherever you may be. We're Quad Education, a college admissions consulting firm with 15 plus years of experience helping students realize their dreams of attending the college's top institutions. Our mission is to make higher education more accessible for students and empower them to take charge of their college journey. So tonight's presentation is developing a passion project to stand out. Insider secrets from college admissions counselors. And let me tell you, we have two amazing counselors and presenters for you here tonight. I just want to give everybody sort of a little bit of a heads up. This call is recorded, so you will receive a post-webinar follow-up with a link. You can share that link. You can view it as many times as you like. It's yours to keep, and that should be to you within 2 days. We have a question and answer box, as I see that people are already utilizing, which we absolutely love. We'll spend about 30 minutes on the presentation portion, but 15 minutes on question and answers. So I encourage you to pop your questions into the chat, and we'll make sure we get to them. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get to every single question, but rest assured, somebody will be in touch with you one way or another to make sure those questions get answered. And that's really about it for me. I know you're not here to talk to me and to sit through a very long intro, so I want to pass it over to our wonderful panelists who will be introducing themselves.
Hi there, everyone. My name's Krystal Kapler, and I'm a college admissions counselor here with Quad Education. I live in Colorado, and I've coached and counseled and worked with top college students who've successfully navigated and been accepted into prestigious scholarships and universities, scholarships including Fulbright, Coca-Cola, Gates Family Scholarship, Marshall, Rhodes, and more. I was valedictorian of my own high school and received merit scholarships that allowed me to finish my bachelor's in science of corporate finance and leadership and my economics coursework free of cost. And in college, I wrote and received a lot of different grants to support my scientific research. Before this, I worked at the Boettcher Foundation and was awarded full-ride merit scholarships to 50 Colorado high school seniors and helping them put on alumni programming to make that a really strong and successful network. And now I chair the National Scholarship Coca-Cola board and help run their coaching program. I'm really passionate about helping students teach and tell their unique story, and I use my financial acumen to help make college as accessible as possible to students.
Awesome. Thank you, Krystal. Hi, everyone. My name is Amethyst, and I am also a college admissions counselor with Quad Education. I graduated from Columbia University with a bachelor's degree in psychology and a concentration in education. From there, I went to the University of Pennsylvania, where I got my master's of science in teaching. Since graduating, I've enjoyed being a member of Columbia's Alumni Representative Committee, where I was able to conduct entrance interviews. I currently work at a private school in Denver, Colorado. We got 2 Colorado presenters as part of our college and transition counseling team. As a counselor, I am super dedicated to learning about students holistically and helping them find their passions, which is what tonight's presentation is all about. So like Andrea said, feel welcome to ask questions as they arise in the chat, but know that we'll have a Q&A portion at the end where we'll stop and answer all of your questions.
Awesome. So tonight we're going to talk about a lot of things, and the first of which is going to be, what is a passion project? We're going to go into, do college passion projects matter to colleges? And we'll look at how do you evolve your interests into projects? Then we'll start on the nitty-gritty, how to start your passion project, and we'll save time for questions at the end.
Awesome. So what actually is a passion project? A passion project will come from you. This is something that you're excited about. It's your interest, your curiosity in honestly anything. So think about ideas, topics, even skills that you have. This is something that will come outside of required schoolwork. So if you have like a science project in school or a history project, that is awesome. We're thinking a passion project is something outside of that. It can have a lot of different forms. We're thinking creative things. So if you're an art, dance person, something like that, community initiatives, research, or personal challenges.
Like Amethyst was saying, there's a lot of different types of passion projects. It's not that a college is looking for any one specific mold, but something that really speaks to you and who you are as an individual. For example, I've helped students whose passion projects have been putting on dance shows, coordinating talent shows for underserved elementary schools, creating chemistry magic shows with experiments that teach scientific concepts to students. What types of projects have you had, Amethyst?
I've had a few. I've worked with students on extensive research, so getting down to a subject that they're quite interested in academically and publishing that on a journal site. I'm currently working with a student who's doing a children's book, which is super exciting. I've had students create an app before. Someone's done photo books and 3D printing. Yeah. Also, thank you guys for the echo comments. We are trying to figure that out.
I was just about to say we're looking into that.
So why do passion projects matter? We're looking at the next slide. Passion projects are really pivotal in college admissions, right? They show a college that you are really genuinely interested in something, right? You're active, you're engaged, you're a motivated and dedicated person. So when you apply to colleges will be looking at a lot of things, right? They're going to be looking at your academics, your grades. They're going to be looking at your extracurriculars. Think of this as an additional thing that shows a little bit more about who you are.
So what are some of the benefits of pursuing a passion project for college applicants? A good college application shows a really strong through line. So as a reader of applications, I look to see that a student's classes in higher level, whether it's AP classes or advanced classes, are lining up with the types of activities that they're pursuing through their extracurriculars. And those same threads of interest should show up in your passion project. It should be something that you want to go down that rabbit hole and learn.
Oh, I think you're muted.
Krystal, we lost you a bit at the end.
We lost you a bit. You're muted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. I was just saying passion projects are a great place to show a really strong through line in your application. You want to see everything from taking higher level classes in this area of interest, whether it's AP classes or advanced classes, and doing extracurriculars that are within the same thread of interest. So pursuing this idea outside of the classroom with your peers. And then the passion project feeds right into that. It's something that you're already learning at a high level in the classroom. You're already experiencing with your peers. And then you're taking the time to dive deep into that outside of the classroom, outside of your extracurriculars, to do something solo where you're waking up bright and early in the morning or staying late up at night to really take a deep dive into this area that you're interested in.
All right, so you're interested in passion projects. This is something that you might want to do. How do you even figure out what your interest and what your passion is? This really comes through a process of self-reflection. So asking yourself questions about what you like exploring new things, and considering what genuinely captivates and motivates you. So have any of you guys gone down like a Google rabbit hole or a Wikipedia rabbit hole where you're just Googling something so random? Maybe you watch a movie, you see a TV show, and you're reading all of these things about it. That's the kind of passion and interest you want to bring to a passion project, something that brings you joy, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. There are a few different ways that you can engage in self-reflection and figure out what you like. One thing that I do every day is a daily journal. So I am always asking myself different questions. What do I like? What am I interested in? What are my values? And those things probably change, right? As you go from 9th grade to 10th grade to 11th grade. So it's good to just ask yourself those questions. I also love personality tests. I don't know if you guys have ever done these personality tests, the Myers-Briggs, the multiple intelligence. I think they're so fun and they help you learn more about yourself. So for the multiple intelligence, for example, you can be smart in a lot of different ways, right? You might be a visual person, and the more photo artistic passion projects might be more your speed. You could be a math person. Maybe you want to do a math science research project, or you might want to do something that's totally not traditionally academic. So I have students who love video games, who love makeup tutorials, who love things like hiking, doing yoga. Your thing does not have to be something that you're covering in your high school classroom. So be really open when you're thinking, what do I like and what do I enjoy?
Once you've really explored what you like and what you enjoy, it's time to transition that spark into a meaningful project. And when I say meaningful project, it's something that will jump off the page to show a reader that you really love this area and you care about it, and you're looking to make a difference in that space. So it's something that I look for additional volunteerism or research or something that indicates that you're willing to take this idea, this concept that you've learned either in the classroom or in your extracurriculars, and you're willing to take it one step further and do something with that. I love to see passion projects that really benefit a student's school environment and their peers or their community or even people in the world. It's something that is bigger than just you and that could potentially make a really meaningful impact on other people in your community.
So your goal here really is to balance your personal interests with your academic and your career goals. Right? So how can your project connect with some of the skills that you've learned and move you forward? Krystal really said it perfectly when she talked about service and volunteering. Colleges want to see that you're someone who doesn't just care about yourself, right? You care about the world. You want to make your community better. You want to make where you live better. So I urge you to think about that when you're starting to brainstorm, what could a passion project be?
And it's worth noting that your academic requirements should always be prioritized first, right? We want to see strong applications that are strong overall. So don't let a passion project become such a huge part of what you're doing in your day-to-day and week-to-week that it allows your academics to slide. You definitely want to not overextend yourself and do well academically and in your extracurriculars. Passion project should be in addition to that. It's something that's going to fuel you, but not take away from everything else that you're doing.
Nice. So let's think, how can we actually start our passion projects? I actually want you guys to go to the chat if you feel comfortable, and you could pick one of these questions to answer, or even all three. So the first one, which school subject do you enjoy the most? See some things in the chat. I used to be a history teacher, so I'm going to be biased. Second question, I want you guys to think about, what skills do you excel at naturally? And what topics genuinely excite and engage you? So we're thinking about those Google rabbit holes, right? What is something that really makes you want to learn more about it? Awesome.
I'm seeing anatomy and physiology,
Math, art,
engineering,
history.
math, art history. Oh gosh, there's so many good subjects in here.
Ooh, we see
Hiking
hiking and
in the
outdoors.
outdoors.
Awesome. Guys, these are incredible. All of these could become the basis for a passion project. Awesome. I mean, I love that. Criminal justice, crime, medicine. Absolutely. You can think outside of the realm of your normal school subjects as well. Awesome.
Psychology, public speaking and presentations. Wonderful.
Beautiful. So you guys are super intelligent people, right? You have so many strengths. When you're choosing a passion project, play to your strength and choose something that genuinely captivates your interest. It is pretty obvious on the side, and Krystal, you can agree with me or not, when you're reading an application where a student's done a project just to get into college, right? They're not really that interested in it. There's no passion there. There's no interest. So we really want to encourage you guys to go with these topics.
Absolutely. I talk about it as a spark, something that you can just tell when the student is writing about it, that they're lighting up. And if you get a student in an interview, I can always tell and feel that energy resonating across the room when they're speaking about what they love to do and why they love to do it.
Awesome. So after you guys have thought about a passion, right, you have something in mind that you could do for a passion project, you want to set some goals, right? It's crucial that you're establishing clear goals and you have a tangible. So what might a university see or a scholarship program see on the back end? So you can think about questions like, what achievements do you aim for and how will you measure success? Right? So maybe you want to write a big research paper and get published. Maybe you want to put together an art portfolio. Maybe you want to do a public speaking engagement and get feedback on that. So once you have those goals in mind, what strategies will you employ to stay focused and meet your objectives? Krystal said it best, you guys are busy people. You have other schoolwork. This is going to be an addition. So what kind of things can you do to make sure this gets attention as well? And lastly, who constitutes your target audience? Whom do you intend to assist? So again, we're thinking about service. We're thinking about volunteering. Is there anything that we can do to help the world around us?
And as far as choosing what achievements you aim for and how you'll measure success, I love to employ the SMART goal strategy. So making goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And there are a lot of great resources online that will help walk you through those processes. But once you've ideated around what your passion project will be, go ahead and plug it into the SMART goal format and make sure that you can help keep yourself accountable. Speaking of accountability, if you have an accountability buddy or a peer or friend who's working on their own passion project, that could be a really fun thing to check in on as you make progress towards your respective goals. Even over lunch, just in the hallway, hey buddy, how's your passion project going? It's a really great way to stay motivated and also to hear about someone else's joy and spark and what they're bringing to the world. And then with that third bullet point, who's your target audience? I always like to frame that as, what value are you bringing to the table? What are you offering that no one has offered in the way that you're offering it now? Think about what is your unique position to make your passion happen.
Awesome. So step 3, you've got a goal in mind, right? You have a passion project idea and you have a goal. So now how do you start putting together your project? The next thing you want to think about are resources. So you want to really sit down and plan, what will I need to put together a really thoughtful, interesting passion project? You want to have a starting point, you want to have an ending point, and you want to understand what materials do you need to get to point A to B. One thing that I've seen students do in the past is use online courses. So it's a great idea to get foundational knowledge outside of the traditional classroom. Of course, your classrooms might have a lot of great stuff there, but if you're thinking about a topic such as a deep hiking project or psychology, we saw botany, we saw holistic well-being on this list, Fortnite, awesome. How can you get more information about those things in your free time? So there are a lot of great online knowledge base platforms. We're looking at things like Coursera, Skillshare, Udemy, Khan Academy, TED Talks, right? Just official information that you can go and look at to get your specific topic details. As you're creating your list, we really urge you guys to just be meticulous and identify really what's essential. You don't want to be starting off and not really knowing what you're doing, but have an essential list, be meticulous, and get the resources that you need.
Super. The other thing, and the fourth step to this whole process, is finding a great mentor. It should be someone that is maybe a teacher, maybe a volunteer coordinator, a community leader, a coach, whether you're in sports and it's your sports coach, or just a life coach who can help you out. Your quad counselor would be a great resource to help you think about who that person might be in your life. But essentially, a mentor can be anyone, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a person with expertise in your chosen area, your chosen field that your passion project is about. It could be a coach who's willing to sit down with you, once a week, once a month, periodically, to pose challenging questions and help you get thinking about what that next step is, and also serve as somewhat of an accountability partner. They'll be checking in on you regularly to make sure that you're making progress, that you're still enjoying the process, and you find it to be a great area of passion and a source of joy and energy for you. And they can help point you in the right direction if you hit any roadblocks, or just help you navigate the project management aspect to make sure that you're making consistent progress over time. Mentorship can be in any format, really. It's looking for the right person in your life who's willing to sit down with you and give you the time to play out in this space and make your project something really worthwhile and meaningful. So with that, we'll move on to question and answer and see what we can share with you.
I'm
if anyone
excited
has
about
questions,
this.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so sorry. I'm excited about this. You two are both such wonderful speakers, and you can tell that you have such passion about passion projects. So I think you two are the best to help these students out. Students, and we actually have some parents on here as well. So
awesome. I'm seeing a question that I could answer. A couple of you guys are asking what specific journals publish high school students. I'm going to put a couple names in the chat. I've sent students in the past to Journal of Emerging Investigators. That's one that's high school focused. The Journal of Student Research, International Journal of High School Research. Those are three that I've sent students to before. I do believe there are more, like the Concord Review. A note for publishing.
Awesome. That's a great resource, Amethyst.
Yeah, absolutely. A note for publishing, there's usually like a fee submitted, so just keep that in mind. But there are journals, and I'm sure just kind of investigating and Googling on your own will give you more. But those are the big three that I've sent students to in the past.
Fantastic.
I'm seeing another great question here. Do you need to do research and some other item like the ideas mentioned, tutoring, documentaries, podcast, book? I would say, and the follow-up question to that is, how critical is it to be published in research? it does take time and it is not easy. I'm so glad that you recognize that, because research is definitely an investment in time and energy, and also having the right idea that comes to fruition, right? Science is not always hard and set. If you spend X number of hours, you'll get great results. It really depends on your unique profile. If you're scientific based and you're looking to go into a research industry, then research is a really great, valuable add to your resume, so to speak. But if you're not looking to go into the hard sciences, or research isn't necessarily a natural fit for your chosen area, then I wouldn't say that that's necessary to spend your time on.
Awesome. Someone is also asking, where on the college application can we describe or highlight the project? That is an awesome question. I would say that can be highlighted throughout your main essays. So the Common App will have one main essay for you to write. If you're writing about your passion in that main essay, that can be an awesome time to show colleges what you're about. Other schools will have supplementals, so that's other writing pieces that you will write for that specific college. And those will often ask, like, what are your interests? What are your academic passions? Another great time to put that in. There's also a section for honors and awards. So if you submitted this elsewhere, say you went the publishing route, or even just like a competition, so like magazines, they'll ask for writing pieces. If you're going down like an English path, then you can take that honor, that award, and add that to your application as well.
And as we were saying earlier in the presentation, a passion project should be an area of such interest that there's a really strong through line throughout your application. So it will be really clear to the reader that your passion project is related to the coursework that you've taken, which is related to the extracurriculars that you're doing as a student. So there might be multiple places within an application that you can weave some of that passion project into the story of who you are.
I'd love to hop in, and I see a couple of questions in here as well. Somebody asked, can my quad counselor be my mentor? Yes, they can be. We encourage it. A couple of other questions. I think these are, wow. Keep on going, guys. Okay. I don't know where to start. Let's see. Is there any added value that we can stand to gain during the application? That's one question. Somebody's also asking about a application with a passion project compared to an application without a passion project. There's a lot coming in here. Did one of you want to tackle those sort of two questions, and then we can keep going?
Krystal, would you like to?
Sure, I'm happy to jump in. As far as an application with or without a passion project, the application with the passion project is always going to be the stronger application in my mind, because the student is not only demonstrating that they can do what is required of them, the academics, but they're also going above and beyond to initiate something, and that shows a lot of motivation, a lot of dedication, and a spark, something that makes that student unique, that will bring that unique aspect and that hard work to the university of their choice. So I always recommend that students do have a passion project, and it gives people an outlet to try something on their own, try something that's maybe a little bit risky or vulnerable, to showcase some of their talents and endeavors.
Awesome. I'm seeing a question, if we wanted to help underprivileged children, how can we take steps to assisting them? I think that's a great idea for like a community service, oriented project, I always like to say, what do they need? So I wouldn't just come up with a passion project. I'm going to go help these kids in a community that I might not be a part of. I would go connect with community leaders. So maybe that's someone who already leads a volunteer organization or a church group, something like that, and just start with what is needed here, right? So especially with those community service projects, I would, step one, go and ask members in that community, what do they need, instead of just coming up with that yourself.
That's a great point, Amethyst. And it can even be at the school level. If there's a volunteer coordinator at this individual school that you live nearby, reach out to them via email or phone call, and I'm sure they're more than willing to take on a volunteer if they have a need in a certain area.
I see some questions coming in here that are very specific to individual cases. Unfortunately, we won't be able to answer those just because, we want to be mindful and respectful of everybody on the call. But I see a couple parents in here sort of asking about questions pertaining to their children. We highly encourage not only the parents, but the students as well to book a free consultation where we'll actually be able to do a deeper dive into your specific case, and we'll be able to give you some sort of advice and an answer as well. So I wanted to put that out there. So this is an interesting question, actually. What percentage of college admissions take for passion projects? Do we have a number for that, or is that just general applications?
Like accepts passion projects as part of the application?
To the individual that wrote that, do you mind clarifying? And then we can come back to that question, because I think that's really interesting, and I've seen it come up a couple of times in the chat. So what is a quad counselor? Where can I find one? Head to our website. Absolutely, head to our website. I will put it in the chat for everybody. One thing about us as well, little self-pitched moment, we actually have a ton of really great free tools and resources for you as well. And I'd love to know if you would like us to create some sort of tool around passion projects, maybe a quiz where, we help you figure out what your passion project is. I'd love to hear if that's something you'd be interested in. And here is our website in the chat. So it says, just want to know how much percentage that is assigned to passion projects. I think think that what they're trying to get at is how the importance of it. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the importance of the passion project, I would say it definitely comes after academics and involvement. So academics absolutely need to be priority to make sure that a student is doing well in school and well in their classes. And then a passion project is just outside of that. So they're participating in some extracurriculars, and then with that spare time, which there might not be a lot of spare time, but with the spare time and energy a student has, that passion project should just pull that through line. It should be something that is related potentially to the coursework that a student's taking or the extracurriculars a student is doing, but is sort of that third level in an application.
So how much time would you say somebody should devote to a passion project?
That's a great question. It really depends on the passion project. So research, as we mentioned earlier, is very time intensive, and to do high quality research, there's a lot of research out there that is maybe easier to read through as an admissions rep to see that the time wasn't really put in, but doing high quality research that has some meaningful findings does take a lot of time, and should be started as early as possible in your student career. Whereas if it's a more condensed project, maybe it's putting on a dance recital or doing tutoring for a semester or a year or longer. It really does depend on the
Great question. What example of projects have you seen with hobbies versus core school subjects? I actually think the best projects that I've seen molds the two. So they don't see them as that separate. So you named baking here, like that could have a great science component, right, where you are looking at chemistry through baking, something that you're interested in. A really strong passion project example I've seen is a student who loves math. That's their thing. She was a big math person, and she ended up making her own jewelry through geometric shapes. So necklaces, earrings, and then started her own Etsy shop and sold that jewelry. So it was a cool thing of connecting a core subject with a hobby. So I wouldn't think of them as necessarily separate. There's a lot of ways you can connect those two.
So we have some interesting questions sort of coming in about the importance of keeping up good grades and your academics and passion projects. And I think the one thing that our presenters have been saying, so I think it's worth noting, is that passion projects are sort of, you ladies clearly are the experts in this, but just the importance of academics and the importance of your grades and keeping that up, because that should always be the number one focus. Just somebody asked about what's more important, high grade score or high scores or passion projects. But I've seen that question come up a few times.
It's a really valid question, and I agree with you. Grades are definitely number one. It's not the end all be all, but having a strong academic profile, whether you're taking general courses or a student is able to take advanced courses or AP courses, IB courses, that's sort of that first metric. And there's a lot of universities that will actually use essentially algorithms that look at GPA. So that's one of those first points of access that are easier for larger universities to use as a metric to essentially allow people in. Passion projects are more involved, and with that, harder to measure by a university's system. So it does take that application reader to dive into the great writing that a student is doing to tell the story of that passion project, how it was meaningful, what was done, what was learned, and what was the value. So that passion project, I don't want to say it's necessarily the icing on the cake. It's more important than that. But academics and having that strong foundation is sort of your first point of entry.
So somebody asked, how can you make your passion project great? I think both of you are incredibly capable of responding to that. But the second part of that question is, what components are needed to make it great? And lastly, do you have a checklist? So currently, Quad does not have a checklist, but I will bring that up to our team. And I think within the next couple of weeks, just based off of the demand, we will have a checklist created for you on our website for free with different components.
Yeah, I would say the components that we've kind of talked about and we can solidify are like, one, it should be something that you are genuinely interested in, right? It should be a real passion, a real curiosity, a real interest. Second, it should showcase you as a student, right? So there should be some academic component there. Even if you're doing something like hiking or video games, is there some way that you can pull in an academic component because you're applying for schools, right? And third, I'd say the best passion projects show that you're committed to things, that you're able to engage with things. So it's probably not going to be like a one-off. I saw some things like, could this club or could a service trip? I would say if it's just a one-time thing, probably not, right? Colleges want to see consistent engagement over a period of time. Yeah.
Exactly, Amethyst. And to that, I would add that the more metrics you can add to that story, the stronger it makes it. So you can add metrics into any passion project out there. It's just a way of communicating the value that you're bringing to the table, whether it's a scientific passion project and the numbers are really clear cut, or if it's a dance recital and you're talking about number of students served or number of dancers trained, number of dance moves demonstrated, that sort of thing. Be creative with what sort of metrics you're looking at, but the more that you can have in there, the better you'll be able to tell the story of the value and the impact that you're having.
So I want to be mindful of time. So I think we only have a couple of moments left. I'll leave it up to you ladies to choose the final question.
Just reading through some of these.
I put you guys on the spot. I apologize.
I think the one question that really drives the whole idea home is how can you make your passion project great? I think that's going to come from within, from the student. A great passion project demonstrates that the student is excited about it, engaged in the activity and the idea, and they're participating from ideation through that project's completion. It's something that shows a spark and shows energy and shows some really great character of the student. That's what makes a passion project great.
Oh, maybe we'll do that as a one last question. When should you start a passion project? That's great. I would say as early as you can. We talked again about if you can make it extended, if you can make this even a multi-year project, that shows so much passion, so much excitement, so much engagement. So really as soon as you can. I would say there's not generally a specific year, but maybe sophomore year, early in your junior year, freshman year if you're there. It's never too early to start diving into what you're interested into.
And you can always build upon it too. Starting early as a freshman or sophomore allows students to create an idea and then iterate and make it even better over time. And that longevity on applications shows that level of dedication that a student is contributing to an idea over time. Love to see it.
Absolutely. So I think that brings us to the end of today's webinar. First and foremost, Amethyst, Krystal, thank you very much for all your wonderful insights, for your engagement and your passion. First and foremost, your passion. And to our wonderful audience, we appreciate you very much. We hope that you got a ton of value out of this webinar. We encourage you to reach out on our website, emails, whatever the case may be, social media, of course. We are here to support you, and we're here to help you and support you in any way we can. So that's about it for tonight. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.